I don't know if I can do this for YouTube, but I'm gonna give this a shot on Sunday and see what happens. Click the links, join the channel, become a valued member, or here over at subscribe to the various other links. I have a mailbox. You want to mail me some comics or something else cool? So Robin from the Hood, yo, which sounds like a parody. Did the alt right write this? But it apparently it's not apparently a parody, unless in the bigger picture all of Hollywood is just part of a cringe humiliation ritual, which might actually be accurate. So the network is called Global TV, so globalist TV propaganda. It's a Robin Hood woke remake that is just as dead on arrival as something can possibly be. And I was trying to run the numbers for what a low budget streaming show would be, and thinking maybe 50,000 or less per episode, and maybe a whole lot less. And they do, 8 episodes in the first season that nobody watches, and it gets canceled. So the loss is under $500,000, which I guess to them and their network and their venture capitalists who are just funding them is acceptable, because nobody, not even the woke SJWs involved in this, think that this will find an audience. Maybe the director, who seems to be insane, he's got a very small following on social media, and when they release these tweets, I think one of them got 4 likes. You're promoting a show on a network that nobody has ever heard of. So nobody thinks it's going to find an audience. It's just the kind of thing that people do just to have credits on the resume. It's good for everyone involved, even if nobody watches it, because it's still a writing credit and acting credit. You worked on the set, and somebody got paid for this for a few months it takes to make the shows. It's just a stepping stone to something else. But why the networks do it is probably the bigger question, because right from the start, they know, I mean, this looks like, it doesn't look good right from the. So, aren't you culturally appropriating an English story? Oh, it doesn't work like that because the English aren't human. We need to degrade and dehumanize them as much as possible. Like it's funny how it only works one way. I mean, it's not really funny, but anyway, so there is the my theory is it's the Blockbuster wall approach. If I don't know when they went out, they closed down the physical stores, but those Blockbuster video rental stores when you used to go rent VHS tapes in the '80s. Is that approach to the networks where they just want to overwhelm the potential audience with as many offerings up on the wall as possible, so that they think they're getting their money's worth if it's a streaming service, or it's worth spending time interacting with their network in some capacity. Because this was crap, you might look at them, you think, oh well, they're going in the right direction, maybe they'll do something else. And I think only Netflix is turning a profit out of all the streaming networks. And for some of the other smaller ones, it could be a situation like with the rise of the SJW publishers, the online, the BuzzFeed type of media, Vox, Slate, Salon. They have venture capital from essentially gamblers, but most of those companies are starting to shrink now. And some of them are turning into, I think, artificial intelligence clickbait farms like the CBR has turned into. It's just, in a couple of years, AI could probably be writing most of those articles, probably, and which you probably have AI clicking on the articles also. But the thing is, they keep firing editors and writers trying to slim their digital magazines down. Eventually, some of them just disappear. Because those kind of clickbait pages, that felt like sort of a 2016 energy where BuzzFeed would just release these lists of I don't even know. I can't imagine the mentality of somebody who's searching BuzzFeed, because it's been 5 years since BuzzFeed was kind of relevant. I think they're the ones who released some. It's like it's a pop culture thing, and then they decided to go into hard politics and talk about Trump to make up some outlandish story about Trump like getting peed on or something, which is just you go, the guy's like, love him or hate him, he's really not into germs. Oh. Yeah, he doesn't even like to shake hands or doing that kind of stuff. Like he's not the kind of guy. Even if you hate the guy, you can look at him and go, yeah, if he's not into germs, he's not going to get peed on by a filthy whore. That's insane. Oh, we probably should have looked that up before we published the article, and that kind of was the end of BuzzFeed, or even Newsweek when they published that picture of a little kid crying on the cover of a magazine. You're like, yeah, they edited out her mom who is a couple inches away from her, and they put Trump in front of her. Oh, hey Newsweek, how you guys doing today? It's like, yeah, they're not the magazine they used to be. Anyway, so Robin Hood took from the corrupt tax collectors, which shows you the power of barter and home gardens. You can cut out the taxman and corporations entirely that way. Though, believe it or not, if I remember correctly from the federal code, you're supposed to pay taxes on barter. Yeah. Uh, do we need an IRS? I don't know. You'd have to talk to the Federal Reserve in 1913, and oddly enough, after that they went to war in 1914, and then they after the Federal Reserve, it's like I think it was the 1910 meeting in Jekyll Island, and then the Federal Reserve in 13, and then war in 14, and then they needed taxes to pay for the foreign war, which was actually started 110 years of foreign wars and increasing inflation and decreasing value of the dollar. Kind of weird. Federal Reserve in 1913, war 1 year later, a foreign war, 5,000, 10,000 miles away, right? On the other side. It's like, yeah, didn't founding fathers say don't get involved in foreign wars? Yep. And don't have a central bank? Yep. And what happened? Well, bankers won. 1913, they won. It's like they finally won. What happened in 71? Nixon decided to go off, and Kissinger decided to go off the gold standard. So the value of the dollar in 1913, what's it worth today? I think it has decreased by like 95%. Ah, anyone want to? And what's the value? What's the debt? Oh, well, ever since they enacted taxes, the federal taxes in 14, and pay for foreign wars, it's just an astronomical number. Oh, anyone concerned about that? No. I'll get off track. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's a Sunday thing. I think I should have some leeway. So the whole point of this Robin Hood thing is why people bad. That's it. That's pretty much all of it summed up. It's a dozen Sunmen criminals who go around. That's Act Nation's euphemism. They go around robbing the evil blonde and red-haired people of the light, which is just an absolutely fascinating premise for a show. Don't say anything in the comments. It just gets me kicked off. Looking at you, Mr. Furfig McDeer. No, YouTube will not allow you to advocate genocide, even if it's really funny. So the evil sheriff is, of course, what timing? Not a Sun woman. She's red-haired because white people bad and Sun people good. Even if that's not the case. And the evil property developer is blonde. So it's a dozen non-white gangsters versus the evil fair-eyed people of the light, because the blue-eyed people who are the victims of crime are apparently the ones that you should focus your blame on. I mean, like, who writes this kind of stuff? Is this horseshoe theory where the woke are so low IQ that they don't understand they're making their opponent's argument for them? Yeah, they really are that deep in an echo chamber. They like, this is the image on screen of the show. So there's 10 sun people and 2 people of the light. And you look at this and you go, oh gosh, who are the bad guys and who are the good guys? Oh gosh, I have no idea. I only say this because it's in every single show, all the time, every single time. It's every single time with these people. It's like, oh, this is wacky. Yeah. So the really weird thing, which is kind of hard to articulate, is that the show specifically, but also the left in general, is it's not Robin Hood going after the IRS or small town corruption, specifically because in sunny cities, the mayors and city councilors are also going to look like the people who they represent. So the corruption is going to be on them, and they're as corrupt as anything. But there's no way Hollywood is going to deviate from the white people bad narrative. It's like A Time to Kill with Grisham's book. Like, yeah, that was based on a true story, except the colors of both sides were swapped out. Oh, that's weird. Why would you do that? Because I wanted to make a movie and make $20 million. So I had to race swap the protagonist and antagonist. Gosh, but you're telling a narrative that's not in accord with reality. Yep, but I made millions of dollars doing it. Gosh, that's weird. So they either strawman the white characters or just skip to find a blonde to focus their hate on, no matter how asinine it is. Which, to be fair, like, the show will go a few episodes and just implode in on itself. Like Willow or Witcher or She-Hulk or whatever. Like in the first 5 minutes of She-Hulk, there was some evil white guy who's, well, oh, not evil, but he walks into this conversation and he's just being a douche. Like, gosh, that was in the first 5 minutes, huh? You really thought you guys. So did that show get renewed? Nope. Neither did Willow, or what was it? Witcher had a spinoff like Blood Rain. It's like the first 5 minutes of the show. They're in a pub, and it's evil blonde people who have to be put in their place by a non blonde woman. That was actually the first scene, one of the first scenes in Rings of Power, where the dark elf had to correct the evil blonde guy who was calling him like elf ears or something. It's like, gosh, you guys are as subtle as a tractor rolling off a cliff. Gee, I don't see this in every single show. Anyway, the thing is with that is that in general the left doesn't go after the government anymore because the left is the government. The derp state is the deep blue parasite. The last time the left went after the government was under Bush for being such a warmonger. Oh, and then what happened? Oh, well, the wars continued, but the politicians changed. So did you guys go after like Obama or Clinton for going to war? No, no. But so I mean, you're just hypocrites. Yep. Oh, okay. I mean, it's like at least we get it out there. So, I mean, the joke is that they're raging for the machine because that's exactly what happens. They control the machine. So they can't attack a corrupt FBI or IRS, so they have to strawman a blonde real estate guy and a red-haired sheriff as the two evil characters in a show, because the only point of a show like this is to push an anti-white racist narrative to the extent that they're willing to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on the show to do it. And you could look at the investors behind the scenes, and it'd probably tell you a deeper Story. It always does. I mean, you always just have to follow the money. Just don't focus on anything else in America, but your hatred for this one group of people. Just focus on that. Everything should be focused on them. They're to blame for everything. You're like, but they're not. They're not to blame for almost anything really. They pretty much make a situation better. No. Focus on them. I mean, this stuff is just hysterical, the amount of psyop brainwashing that they're able to get away with. Because it turns out if you control the airwaves for 70 years, you can get people to believe things with no basis in reality. They never see facts or evidence. They think it's real because they see it repeated on TV or in government schools. I mean, think about this for a second. They know this is going to lose money. They don't care. It's just a chance to focus all your hatred on people who look like this. Red-haired, blue-eyed, green-eyed people. They're the ultra-global minority, but they want to replace them, and they want all the hatred focused on them. Doesn't that strike you as a little bit weird? And I don't know if I can mention symbology on Google Tube. I don't think so. But you can go to this Bounding article, and you can look at some of the symbolism on the sheriff's uniform. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys probably not on YouTube for too much longer. I just can't imagine. Every day I'm just kind of waiting for that email. But Odyssey, BitChute, Gab TV, and Subscribestar.